What are some things that are going to make or break a team, you think, over the next while? Let's talk about what are some things that are going to break a team? Like, what are the behaviors, the attitudes, the personalities that are going to be disruptive to teams moving forward?
Yeah. So I think the number one thing is anytime there is broken trust, or what they would call lack of psychological safety, right? That whole idea where people don't feel safe to show up as their full self. So they're holding back, and you're paying them to be part of this team, and yet they're not bringing their full self to the team because they feel unsafe or they don't trust someone. So building in that safety is going to be a huge focus now, but also going forward, especially as we're transitioning from, work from home to hybrid model to maybe back somewhat to normal, but everyone's changed. So I think just making it a really safe place for everyone to be able to show up as their full self is going to be key.
Can I challenge that for a sec?
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
and I agree with you, by the way, psychological safety, and we'll get into things like radical flexibility and connection and shared purpose in a sec. But, I hear this a lot, and it comes back to the generational conversation where
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing I've had many leaders say to recently, I'm stressed out and I'm doing my job, and now I
Yep.
need to deal with your whining and your stress. And almost some people are like, just get the F on with it already. Just do it and stop whining. And then I have other people saying to me, like, I'm there's so much effort put around people's sensitivities and their emotional needs and stuff, and it's out of control. Now, again, it's not that I'm all the way down that road, because we actually live in this world where we teach this stuff and
Mm-hmm.
how to navigate that world. But what is your thought? Have we swung too far on some of this stuff when it comes down to psychological safety? Are we too sensitive around that, or are we not sensitive enough?
That's it's a really good question, because I think we're talking a lot more about it. And yet I don't feel like, at least not with any of the groups I work with, I don't feel like it's gone extreme. I feel like we've talked about it in extreme and moved the needle slightly.
Right.
So I don't think people put up with whining in the business. Like, this is not about catering and letting drama and emotion come out of it. That's not it at all. It's that healthy balance of just making people more mindful of, okay, I actually need to, they're more sensitive to their own lens, right? This is how I'm seeing it, and I'm triggered by something you're saying. Let's turn that into curiosity. It's not being soft. I also love the concept of radical candor. If you've read Kim Scott's book, right? Like, let's absolutely challenge directly. You have an obligation to speak up if you disagree in a team meeting or with a direction the company's going, but always care personally. So I think it's more, I feel like, yes, we might have talked about it and swung that, but we actually haven't moved the needle like to middle yet.
Yeah.
That's just from my experience.
So what do we need to do to move the needle more? What do leaders need to do?
Well, you know what? It's interesting because you say it's a generational thing. And I feel like as the generation moves up in the organizations, that it's naturally growing toward the middle. And it's some of our older school leaders, and I would put myself in that group too, that are just going, wow, this is new. This is not the organization I lived through when I was first starting my career in my 20s. So I think that it's naturally growing in that way. And it's good that there's some awareness of mental health balanced with, there are organizational needs, and it's not about the individual. To your point, it's about the team. And so it's not just being on a good team, it's being a good team player in that. So you still have to bring the work forward, that's for sure.
And I'm glad you defined it that way, which was, it's the macro. So it's for the greater success of the team. And we're going to look
Mm-hmm.
at the individual. So they're a strong player within that team, but that individual has a responsibility to be a strong player and to deliver.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.